as well discussing about the recent flood that happened in Mokwa, Niger State.
Alright, at this event, we implemented the use of drone technology, that's the Matrix 40, and we use other software like remote sensing software and GIS to also detect the cause of this problem. So at this event, we are looking at what actually caused this whole flood, what is the source, and with remote sensing and GIS, we're able to detect this, and also the timeline, and we're also able to estimate the impact, the extent at which this flood got to. All right, so knowing the extent, the cause of the problem, and how we can also strategically mitigate this whole flood from happening again.
Some say the cause of the flood was from Kainji Dam, some said it's from the Jeba Dam, some said it's from the recent rain that occurred. And when we got to the field, we're hearing different sources of the cause of the flood. But one thing that actually stood out was that the flood didn't come from the Jeba Dam, it didn't come from the Kainji Dam.
We noticed that there was a dam there. Using Google Earth, you will see that there's a dam by the side, and there's a Niger River Niger there. So when they said it's coming from the north side, we were surprised. So we had to do another research and start searching if there is any river from that side. So I think
if there was any river from the north side. So we used Google Earth to try and check, first of all, is there any river source coming from the north side of that Mokwa area? But we discovered that there is none.
So I think it was the results we got from this other website that gave us an idea that yes, there's actually a lowland around that region.
Yes, and we also checked the DM of that area.
DM of that area.
We checked the DM of the area and we can see that okay, Mokwa is actually in a very low
region.
So it's in a very low land, and then there's just a little high point above Mokwa area. But Mokwa itself is sitting like in a valley, with the DM that we're able to observe.
What actually generated this whole thing? And I think we got the information from them, and we got other source that there's a local dam at the back.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a local dam at the back there, not from River Niger at all, a local dam at the back. And it was so surprising that when we heard this, we also heard this from the locals that the water had accumulated there before the event.
It
was accumulating at some point. Like I think it was a day before. It was accumulating there. So
it was 2 days before.
It created something like a artificial dam around that area, that railway side. It created an artificial dam there. So it was so surprising that for something like this to have been happening, there was no response. That was the problem there. There was no response, and I feel if there had been a response at that point, they would have prevented all this from happening.
The locals there didn't really pay attention to it. They were going to farm as usual. They just said that there's water accumulating at the base of that train track. But the day the event now happened, there was another rain. And that rain caused that water to now overflow. We can round up the cause of the entire flood to be like major 3 things, like there was a lack of an early warning system. There was also the negligence by the locals, by not reporting that there's something actually going on this other side of the railway. How do we actually manage this situation before it gets out of hand? That negligence or that ignorance was there. That was like one cause of also the problem. I think if they had alerted everyone that there is a problem coming up, I think everybody would have been prepared.
Yeah, and I feel another cause obviously is the dam. If there was the dam there, then they should have prepared something like a drainage for it for any occurrence. So I think this is also a warning to other communities that they are close to dams. It happened in Ogun State, it happened in Niger, it happens a lot in Niger State because Niger has one of the biggest river routes and it always escapes to other places. So especially most villages suffer from this thing. So if there had been a drainage path and a plan towards that dam route, it will have prevented all this from happening.
So let's talk about the impact of the flood.
Okay, regarding the impact, I see this is where we had to make use of GIS. So we brought in the whole aspect of before the whole event and after the whole event. Before the whole event, there were a lot of buildings there using Google Earth and Sentinel, using USGS satellites. We were able to see that there are a lot of buildings along that route, a lot of them, to be honest. And you can see that the drone itself, we did another mapping of the current situation using drone and other photogrammetry software to be able to map out the entire area, all right, delineate all these buildings that were existing before and compare it, overlay it on the current situation. We will now see that, okay, these buildings are no more there. Obviously, these buildings have been washed off. So the extent we're able to get that using GIS and drone, obviously with remote sensing, getting the extent of the whole thing. By this, I feel we'll be able to count how many buildings were affected.
Count how many buildings
and
are affected.
Using some other algorithm to know how many persons per building. And from what we're hearing, we have about, some buildings have about 20 households.
Yes, 20
50
households. You know,
50.
There were houses that were
50 households.
accommodating the almajiris.
Yeah.
So, and in that house, we have about 50 to 100 persons and
village plannings too. You have villagers, and most of these villages, we see them, they are always close to all these dams, they are close to all these industrial areas. So if the state itself can have a proper planning towards all these things, so that anybody buying land, you can't just, there should be a proper channel to this thing on where to even buy land. So now talking about the solution of what has actually happened now, okay, I feel there's going to be a lot of reconstruction of that whole place. Then they are looking at two events. One is from River Niger and one is from the local dam there.
yeah.
So the village is like is in the middle.
Yeah.
So if it's coming from that side, they are not safe. If it's coming from this side, they are not safe.
Also
And we can't tell all of them to evacuate from that place. But I feel there should be a proper channel towards this thing. So now we can channel the water, because if the water has accumulated there, assuming the water has been channeled to somewhere else while it was accumulating there, it will have reduced the impact. So the water was staying there constant.
There was something we also noticed on the field was the soil of that particular
the soil
area.
Of that area. Yeah.
It's a clay soil, and you know, clay soil is not permeable. It does not allow water to easily.
A lot of clay soil there.
So the water kept accumulating because it had nowhere to actually filtrate and go through. And the culvert there was also small for it to actually channel through. So
it created a mini dam.
Yes, it created a mini dam.
So, and the whole thing could not hold the mini dam.
It doesn't hold the mini dam. The village is, no matter how small the town may be, there's always that awareness, that early warning system that, oh, this thing is about to happen, this hurricane is coming, this tornado is coming.
Yeah, true.
So before it occurs, they've evacuated, so we'll have little casualties and little loss of life. Regarding this, like we said, everyone should just be up and doing. We should foster collaboration, we should foster partnership, and we should always be alert. No matter what is happening in your environment, always be alert. Contact the necessary authorities, contact necessary people or personnel to be able to aid in those situations. Even before they happen, we shouldn't be reacting to a situation, but we should be proactive, have that preparedness before any disaster happens. And you know, that's what we here at Geoinfotech are for. Okay, we are into the drone technology, we are into the GIS and remote sensing, and we carry out all these researches, you know, publish all these things online as well to make awareness of what this technology can actually do, because I believe people are still oblivious to the fact that these things can actually help. These things can actually help to prevent all these disasters from happening. So it's not just you buying a land and building on it. There are a whole lot of, you know, things that you can actually do before you even build on that land, before you even talk about, you know, laying one block on the land. You know, we have plenty cases like that. You go and build a house on where
Flood-prone
it's
areas.
a flood-prone
Or high
area
tension.
or high tension. Before you know what's happening, disaster will happen.
Yeah.
Then you'll be saying, "Oh, it's the devil." It's not actually the devil. It's not actually the devil,
You didn't
but
work with precision.
yes, you didn't work with precision. You didn't work with verifiable data.
Yeah. Okay, I think regarding this whole event, it is an eye-opener to what data can do to us. Okay, gather enough data. That's why you have AI there. AI is just garbage in, garbage out. It's what it has inside it that it gives to you, calculates, you get. So I feel the government and other agencies should work with data. Let's stop the habit of the old culture and all this thing. This is the new system. Let's work with that. These data are available everywhere. As little as Google Earth can be, there are a lot of satellite data set that can implement. So there's a lot of software. You can model them together. You can predict the future for you, what will actually happen next. You understand? Based on the climate change, you can see the water is rising. You can know where this water will come from next. You already know the terrain of the environment. So to me, I feel working with data will prevent a lot of things, because that's what GIS is for. GIS doesn't just show itself when it has happened. It shows itself before it happens. So it gives you these results to help you understand what will actually happen, what will be the impact, what will be the extent of this whole hazard, how many people will be missing, how many buildings will be affected, and how many properties will be lost. So this technology gives you a whole concept of what will actually happen there. And with you understanding what will actually happen, you should have this idea in mind that, okay, if this thing should happen, this should be the next line of action. It's either you evacuate everybody if the problem cannot be mitigated or reduced. You should evacuate everybody. Then when everybody has been evacuated, you can know that yes, the next thing is just to rebuild. Okay, but if you know that yes, this thing can be prevented, then you should start construction. And if you start construction, you should have an idea that this construction will take so time. Then you compare it with the model you have, that okay, this model is telling us that this thing will happen in the next 5 days. Then can this construction prevent it from happening? We should not be doing the old system. And I know that most of especially those in those locales, they might not have the resource. That's why you have a lot of data sets, and you have people like other private organizations that can be willing to help. We at Geoinfotech, we have a lot of research, we have a lot of data sets we've uploaded online. We can help a lot of agencies to achieve some of these things with ease, and make research and also publicize these things to the. And I think awareness too is also important.
Very important.
Awareness of this technology, GIS and remote sensing and drone technology, can go a long way.
Yeah.
You get, if before this thing has happened, if somebody had flown a drone there or map out the entire area and give awareness to NEMA or other government agency, they will have acted on it.
So we want to simulate the flood that occurred. This is a 3D view of the entire area, and as you can see, the terrain is slant. This is how the terrain looks like. Okay, the terrain is slant, like so. Should I zoom to layer again? So you see, so this is how the terrain comes down. So we have the high area here, we have the low area here. The water flows this way and pours into the Niger River. Alright, so we're going to do, so we're able to digitize the existing buildings before the flood, and this is the drone imagery that we're able to capture for Mokwa area. So here we have the existing building digitized already, and as you can see, we already have so many of the buildings and the parts where the flood occurred, and then we have the flood extent, which we're also able to digitize from satellite imagery obtained from UNOSAT. Okay, so this is the flood extent, so of the time it occurred. As you can see, we're able to capture it. And so studying the elevation of Mokwa, we were able to discover that Mokwa actually lies. This is the Mokwa city, just a few of the buildings. You can see that Mokwa city falls, most of the houses that were affected falls within this valley area. Here is a high area, here is a high area, and most of the houses here falls within that valley area led to the flood. We can also look closely. You will see that we have this railway line here, and this is the point of impact where the flood wait for an hour. So what we'll do is we'll put 50 minutes to 50 minutes simulation. Rainfall per hour, we can use, based on the report, we can use 500 or 500 millimeter is okay. Then we have just one channel here. We have just one channel here where the water flows. So I'm just going to include the channel. It's about 5 meters, 10 meters wide under the bridge. So the bridge area that were affected by the flood. We have about 381 buildings. We have 381 buildings. These are the existing roads. So these are all the roads or streets that were affected. Okay, this is the major road as well that was affected by the flood. Here you can see we have vehicles that are passing through this area. This road was affected. This is the bridge. This is the bridge area. You can see we have these rubbles here, and this is the channel for the water, which is quite small, but it exists there. And these buildings were affected as well, with the extent of the flood. Okay, the extent of the flood and the buildings and the roads that were affected as well. So okay, also we can convert this. So there's a need to plan properly for Mokwa so that we'll have less damage, to mitigate little or no damage at all. With the proper plan, all this will be mitigated. So these are the buildings that were affected by the flood. These are the buildings that were affected by the flood. This is how the water accumulates at the middle from various points, accumulates at the middle, and then runs down to the main river that connects to the Niger River, like so. You can see Mokwa is in a valley here. We have the high area, we have the low area. Okay. Then we can export the analysis results and so on.